All right, good afternoon. This is Gardner Israel, and this is the 20th of June, 2023. Tomorrow will be the 21st, which is apparently the longest day of the year, and it is also one of the satanic high days, I would say the high day of the year. All right, I'm gonna be working with this silver a little bit and talking to you a little bit. I showed in my last video how to pour these silver crosses. Apparently it didn't go in that one or that one. Maybe it was in this one. There's the one that went in right there. Using the Smith silver torch, acetylene air torch. I've been doing this a very short period of time. However, I have received a pretty good education on YouTube. I would say that I've been looking at these videos, I guess, for more than a year. I've been clicking on them and learning a little bit. So let me start this as I do many times with the Lord's Prayer, and then we will get into what I'm doing. But I'll give you a little hint. I'm drilling holes in the side of these crosses, which would be right here, so that I can put a chain through them when I get ready to put chains on them. And I've come up with a pretty good way of doing it. I think is a lot more simple than I thought. But anyway, I'd like you to recite the Lord's Prayer with me if you're so inclined. And I'd like you to think about what it means. And I would like to encourage you to learn the Lord's Prayer and say the Lord's Prayer many, many times a day, and especially at night when you're getting a little bit into the witching hour, which is hard sometimes to get to sleep as the cares of the day or the cares of the next day are beginning to spook you. So say it with me if you will. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And I hope I remember, but I'll probably end this video the same way with the Lord's Prayer. This is something I'm not sure where I got it. I guess Harbor Freight. And it took me a long time to figure out what they meant about automatic punch. But you've got to punch this. You've got to make a mark on this where you want to put the drill point, or else the drill will wander off the mark. But here's how it works. You push it down and it clicks. You see the mark it made in there? It's got a spring in it. And you got to push pretty hard. See, it's making a little bitty mark, see there? And see, you're building up energy, but when it clicks is when it makes the mark. This is a handy tool here. That means you don't have to sit there and tap it in. Okay, so I'm holding these things up right here. I'm trying to drill a hole through this. Here's some that I've already done. I'm putting them on a piece of wire so that I can keep them separate. So I'm trying to drill a hole right through here. And I've got to mark it with my punch. So I'm putting it where I think that it needs to be. Holding it. And it's made a pretty nice mark. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Now, this will make marking steel, I imagine, but this soft silver, and I'm going to put it right in the same place. And I'm going to mark it again. And when I put my drill bit down in there, it's not going to wander off the mark. Now, I went to Harbor Freight also today, and to see what kind of drill bits they had. These are 7/64. I think they might be a little bigger than the one I was using yesterday. But you got two different kinds. You got the Warrior titanium and you got the Bauer titanium. These were like 7 for $2.50. Says ideal for all drills. Now I'm gonna differ with that, because I guarantee you all drills won't chuck this drill bit. But I guess they mean all the kind of drills a normal person would have. This one here, it says 4 times longer life. And these were about a little bit, they were about the same price, about $2.50, but there's only 4 of them in there. So it's essentially they cost twice as much. So I'm going to use the Warrior first and show you how we're going to drill the, yeah, let me have that knife right there. It's got a slot in the back, and I guess they mean for you to open them that way. I don't know why, but let's see what that's all about. Yeah, we can do that. Open it like this. Now how we gonna get it out, I don't know. I guess we'll take this top part off here. So this is fairly inexpensive bit. This is the cheaper ones. $2.50 for 7 of them. And we'll see, I'll show you that the, I might have made, this might be a little bigger than the one I used yesterday. And I can see that the drill bit definitely catches in the hole. If you put it over here on where there's no hole, it's already wandered off, see? But with that little hole that I started, that drill bit is going to go right through there. So let me take you over to the drill press and I'll show you how I'm doing. I was fretting about this. How am I going to drill the holes in here? I think this is 7/64. So I think probably that this is okay, but I think that this drill bit is bigger than the one that I was using yesterday, which was one that I already had over here. And yes, this is definitely a bigger drill bit. But I presume Harbor Freight's got some smaller. I just thought this was the right one, but I don't know that it is. Let me get this back on here. Now there's a lot of stuff going on right now too. Like I said, tomorrow is the high day of the satanic world. We got some strange things going on. One of them is that mini submarine that is supposedly in trouble off the wreck of the Titanic. There's something about that story that doesn't ring true with me. I'll tell you, the Titanic was a ritual sinking in the first place. The Titanic was sunk on purpose. I don't know if anybody's ever told you this story, but to get rid of certain powerful, wealthy men that were opposing the formation of the Federal Reserve System, which in essence took over the money-making duties of the United States. The Constitution of the United States says that the money is to be made by the government. But in 1913, this conspiracy took place where the One World Order international bankers essentially bought their way into the Congress and took over the money-making powers of the United States government, and they called it the Federal Reserve. Well, of course, it's not federal. It's a private corporation, and as somebody has said many times recently, they don't have many reserves either. So they eventually wound up creating paper money. Fiat currency is what it's called. Fiat currency is paper money. In the very beginning by the United States, gold and silver were like this right here, were the money. 1 ounce of silver was worth about $1. It's called a silver dollar. And 1 ounce of gold was worth about $20. And that was our money. And they used copper too for the smaller denominations. They started making paper money, you know, from time to time, but they always backed it up with, it would say on the paper money that was a note, like something you've used, a note. And the note said payable at the bank for gold or silver. So you could take your note, which was your dollar bill, $20 bill, and take it to the bank, and they would give you silver or gold for it if you so wished. As long as you felt like that deal was good, you probably would rather carry around a wad of paper money in your pocket, because it wouldn't wear a hole in your pocket like this would. And from time to time, people would go to the bank. Now, you had to go to certain banks. You couldn't probably go to your local bank, but U.S. bank, a bigger bank in a large city, and they go to the vault and pull you out however many silver dollars or how many gold dubs, they called them, double eagle, worth $20. And as time went by, they began to print more and more money. And they didn't really have the gold. They printed more money than they had gold to back it up with. And that worked for quite a while, because people still, now everybody wasn't going to go to the bank at the same time and demand their gold or their silver, and so the people were oblivious to what they were doing unless they were really paying attention. But they began to print so much money that there came a time when it was obvious that they just didn't have the gold and the silver to back up all of the paper dollars. And in 1933, President Roosevelt, I believe by executive order, not law, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, decided to take all of the gold away from the people. So he said, okay, bring your gold dollars here, and we'll swap it for paper money. We'll give you $20 an ounce. And if you don't bring it, you're going to be guilty of a felony. We can put you in jail. You're helping your country, give us your gold. So they basically said, okay, give us your gold and we're going to give you, I say, toilet paper. Well, they got away with it. Now, some of the wealthier people took their money, got on ships, and went to Europe and put it in Switzerland and places. But the average Joe that had $5 or $10 gold pieces or put away in a cookie jar somewhere more or less complied. Some of them buried it, and they essentially took the gold away. But they still claimed that it was backed by gold. Even though you couldn't get the gold, they had it in a very good place called Fort Knox. Made a big deal out of showing films of Fort Knox and showing this huge amount of gold in there. Don't worry, it's safe and all that. But this was very likely a lie. And they just kept printing more and more money. And at some point, they decided that they would disentangle the American paper money from the gold. And Richard Nixon's the president that did it. I think he did it by executive order. I'm not sure about that. I doubt if Congress would have passed such a thing. So by executive order, the president just says this is how it's going to be. And an executive order is the law as long as nobody challenges it in the courts. And they would have gone, somebody would have had to go to the Supreme Court and said, hey, that's not legal. But apparently it didn't happen. So, they basically said it's, and so immediately, now that the dollar was officially no longer linked to gold, it began to get worth less and less. Gold stayed the same in reality, but the gold price appeared to go up because what happened was it took more and more money to buy gold, but it didn't matter much because you couldn't own gold anyway. They said you can't own it. Well, that was another way. Since you couldn't own gold as a United States citizen, they were able to make it look like the dollar was as good as gold, which it wasn't. So I forgot when it happened, but the value of gold began to slip up and up and up. And when Nixon did that back in the 60s, gold was $35 an ounce. Today, I'm going to round it off that it's $2,000 an ounce. It's not that gold is worth any more, it's that the toilet paper is worth less. So now, instead of buying with a $35, a 20, a 10, and a $5 bill, now it takes $2,000 to buy the same piece of gold. Now, when I started this a while ago, I had no idea I was going to give a little mini lesson on the money system. But I did, didn't I? I may not be exactly right in every detail, but I'm old enough to remember many of these things happening. And I remember that my grandfather, in the early 1960s, before you could still redeem money for silver now back then, because they still had silver dollars. But they finally quit making silver dollars, and then they quit making silver money at all. The dimes were silver, silver dollars were silver. But in the early 1960s, my grandfather came to visit us, and I was probably 10 years old maybe, and he went to the National Bank or the Federal Bank in Huntsville, Alabama, and he bought, with paper money, a bunch of silver dollars. Traded in his paper money for silver dollars. And he gave them to us kids. I may still have that silver dollar, I'm not sure. But now, if you want 1 ounce of silver, you can buy it. And it costs about $28 to $30 today. Okay. So, now it's legal to own gold and silver in the United States. And a lot of people are buying gold and silver because they feel like that it will store the value of their hard-earned money better than the paper dollars, which are inflating or deflating in value probably at a rate of 15 to 20% a year here lately. So your dollar now will not buy but maybe 80% next year of what it'll buy this year. That's my story of the money. Now this right here, gold, and this is not gold, this is silver. This worth about $28. I've got a few of them. Don't have many. But I'm starting to make these into these crosses, and I'm going to try one way or another to sell these at a modest profit to people out there that might be interested in owning a little piece of this 0.9999 pure or fine silver. This one right here is from a company called Monex, called a 1 ounce Troy Silver Eagle, and it is 9999 pure silver, and it says that right here. Okay, I've got to be corrected. There's only 999 fine silver, 3 nines. Now there is such a thing as 4 nines. And I ordered a stamp today to stamp all my silver products that says 9999. I'm going to have to not use that unless I've used some silver that's a little more pure. I'll have to order another one. I thought this was 4 nines, but it's 3 nines. 999%, 999% pure silver. About as pure as it can get. So back to the, oh, and I did order some, they call them snap rings.
Jump rings.
To go through these little holes. And I ordered some chain, stainless steel chain, so that I can put these crosses on a chain so that somebody can wear it around their neck or something like that. I did order a stainless steel chain. It's shiny and it's probably stronger than silver. And I'll be getting those in a few days. But I had to figure out a way to drill this hole. And I made a mistake at Harbor Freight. And I don't know if I made a mistake or I couldn't find one any smaller than that. But I can get the smaller ones. But I'm going to drill this. I'm going to drill this hole with the smaller bit that I've already got chucked in the drill press. So let's go over there and do that, and I'm going to show you how to drill the hole. And maybe